Hello and welcome to part 74 of the Creating a PHP Web Framework series. And this is no, not part 74. I've got a note here. It's part 73. This is part 4 of the single page app sort of feature in there. And previously, if we look at our Trello page, we're looking at fix new views with loading the JavaScript. And this was referring to if I open up the inspector console, if I click login, for example, and let's say if I click in register, as you can see, this is constantly printing out STFFFDS. Obviously, that alone means nothing, but if we go to our index.javascript file, I printed that out here somewhere. Printed it when the document is ready. So now when a method is called, so the idea is this stuff should only be called once and once only. It's the rest of the stuff that obviously should be called depending on what you're doing. But because when we are, let's say if I go back, so if I click login, and say if I click index, login, when I'm clicking these, if we go so this does the click, then it calls this method, and from the URL we use an AJAX to get basically the content of that PHP file, and we replace all of the HTML content with that content. Problem with that is the HTML obviously has everything, including JavaScript, CSS, metadata, and all that stuff. So trying to figure out a way of preventing new views from always loading the JavaScript, because if we go to, let's say, built-in libs, so libs to include, for example, so if okay, in this instance we are including material. Do we even need material? Do we need Bootstrap really for now? Could we just yeah, obviously it doesn't. That only works because of the jQuery stuff, which we got jQuery here, I guess. Okay, yeah, still working the way it should be. So none of this should be reloaded. Neither realistically should for the files to include none of our internal JS files and our internal CSS files, or any internal sort of PHP CSS files. So for that reason, there's a couple of things I was thinking. One thing was, if, for example, we were to go to the configs file, core website config, if I were to add another one here and call this is single page enabled, if I put true for that, so something along these lines. So if it is true, then we should do something within the header and the footer to not reload stuff. So that is fine, reloading that stuff. And when we get down to, what is this? Okay, so when we are loading the built-in lib, so all of this, basically we should be able to skip over this, but we should only skip over it if we're loading in a new view. So if it was just always skipping it, then we could just put essentially an if statement around it. All of this thingy there, and I guess we would skip over this as well, and it'll be the same process as anything in here, skipping over this. So really, once we figured it out, let's say for the header, shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to figure it out for everywhere else. So when we click a button, the index.js. So core page. So there's core page get URL ref input. Got one idea in mind, but it doesn't seem like the most secure idea. Most secure way of doing it. Just make sure the audio is being recorded. It is. Good sign there. Then we want to skip out certain bits when this Ajax is called. One thing I thought was we could have it essentially like an extra. So if we got this URL, obviously this wouldn't run, but we could have an extra sort of parameter here. So let's just say Node.js CSS, for example. So that extra parameter would prevent you from doing that loading. Well, that's just something in the URL. And the JavaScript the user can access. If they can access the JavaScript, they can see this. If they can see this, they can figure out this, and then they can add this to the URL itself. And there could be security implementation to that. Implications, I should say. So, let me see if we need, so this will still just go in the back and forward states. On the Trello, still back button not loading previous view. Same for forward. Really, I think once we've done like these two for one, basically it's done. That'd be quite cool. A minimalistic single page implementation. Not a lot of code here, which I'll go online and we modify the ourselves. So I did come across this. And it just didn't seem to really work very well. See, you had that bar. It just didn't seem to work. I think our own implementation will be very cool. That guy can shut up. You're gonna see my password. But Well, these are just the local stuff. So it's all good. Mm. Mm. It's not the best video, just sitting here going, There are a couple of, well, one idea potentially. Well, I was thinking in the PHP side of the head when the photo occurs. Okay, but if we go to the index.php file. Maybe in the PHP side, we could track if, let's say, this has been done somehow, and if it has, and that variable in the configuration file, so this one here in the array, is enabled, then we could not do it potentially. How would we keep track of this? Static PHP variable. Let me try something. So in here, if I were to do, let's say before all the doc type stuff, say if we were to do $III equals 9, but echo out $II, I just want to make sure this is echoing out 9. If if $III if is set $II if it's not set, then we set it, and we echo out first time, else not the first time. Let me try that. So if I click enter, it should say first time. If I click login, still says first time, index still says first time, register still says first time. So yeah, it literally is just new content, nothing is persisting at all. I want to confirm something. Equals 8. That should say not first time, but it is the first time. We detect if it's the first time or not. Okay, PHP check if page has been loaded before. Let me try something else. We have something in index.php to do with the no HTML stuff. If I were to go into here, I think it's underscore no HTML underscore true. That wasn't it. I think it's like this. Let me just re-enable Bootstrap. Reason for that is I would definitely know if this is the case. No, it's still loading it. How did we use this again? Ah, it should be false. I'm gonna try that. So in index.js, if I were to add And now if I go back to not header, index, just get rid of that. Unexpected string. So it's saying none of this is found. We are replacing the HTML though. So instead, if we were to replace, if I go to inspect, not the HTML, we want to keep everything else. So we got the body. Really, it's like a little bit that we want to replace. Not even the body. We need to keep all of this. Okay. HTML element with no styling for containment. See if there's an element that we can just contain everything in, sort of like the body, but within that. And that's what we would replace. The div has some style. Div with no style. Could potentially put it all in a div. Let's try that. I'm going to header. This is where it would be. And so we need to do this. Div. And in footer, I need to do this. Div. But this div realistically should have an ID, and it should be an ID of super container div. Okay, so if we go to index.js, so instead of replacing body, we're going to replace a div with jQuery replace div with ID. So would it be hash then whatever it is? I believe so. I want to try that. Click login. So it does actually replace it within here. Because if I were to just put like that there, for example, that should not do anything because it's, well, not replacing it. But because the PHP so that gets rid of this, and then naturally not found. Okay, I'm going to end the video here now. Ooh. We'll work on this next time. But we're progressing. So that is good stuff. So as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Usual way, all the stuff's in the description on how to reach out. There's a link to the GitHub page as well, so if you want to contribute towards ideas and code, I would love you to do that. You're more than welcome to. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in day 74.